A lot of the advice given to women on how to avoid self-sabotaging doesn't take into account who you are as a person, what your personality is, what drives you, and what your feminine archetype is. If you feel like you have been self-sabotaging non-stop lately, it might be because your two primary feminine archetypes are actually in direct opposition to each other, so you can end up kind of blowing your life up. One of the best examples that I've seen of this in a book is with the character Daisy Haites, so let's break down what her two feminine archetypes are and how they're always clashing. Most women embody more than one feminine archetype. Typically, you have one that is your primary feminine archetype and then one or two that you kind of tap into as needed. And oftentimes, if you have opposing feminine archetypes that have completely different qualities, the weaknesses of one feminine archetype can be balanced out by the strengths of a different feminine archetype. But in some cases, you can find yourself in this self-sabotage cycle where the archetypes are just kind of bringing out the worst in each other. Daisy Haites from the Magnolia Parks Universe book series is a sage archetype woman and a lover archetype woman, and those two archetypes are completely different, and funnily enough, those are the two archetypes that I embody the most as well. The first sort of clash that we see with Daisy's lover and sage archetypes is that because she is a lover woman, she feels her emotions very deeply, but because she's a sage woman, she really struggles to articulate those emotions. And this just leads to Daisy self-sabotaging in general. She makes bad decisions because she's feeling these big emotions, but she's not processing them or thinking about them in a healthy way. The sage in her is just pushing them down so she can move on to the next thing. The second clash that we see with Daisy's sage side and her lover side is that with the sage, she's able to intake and process information very quickly, but the lover side of her makes very impulsive, rash decisions with the information that she's processed quickly. And how this leads to Daisy self-sabotaging is sometimes she doesn't actually have all of the information needed in order to act, but she thinks she does because she's really smart. She makes some truly awful impulsive decisions. She does things that are illegal, terrible for her relationships, terrible for herself, terrible for her feelings and her heart. The third clash between her sage side and her lover side is that the lover in her wants to live in the moment. She wants to have a normal life, but the sage side in her has this desperate need for control at all times. Even when she's doing one of her passions like cooking, it's more to have control in the kitchen and show off her cooking skills rather than to actually enjoy the process of creation. So she's constantly overanalyzing, she's constantly overthinking, and she never really gets to feel good or happy at all. If you want to learn more about the 7 feminine archetypes and how the strengths of some of your archetypes can help with the weaknesses of your other archetypes, feel free to check out my Feminine Archetypes Masterclass course, which is launching next week. You can find it on my website, thedreamgirlacademy.com, or you can